Okay, so I'm Jill Howell, and I'm with NETA. I'm the Director of Sales and Marketing, and I'm very pleased to have you all join us today for NETA's live webinar. The topic of today's webinar is introducing the Qualified Electrical Maintenance Company and Qualified Electrical Maintenance Worker Program. The webinar today is being led by Chasen Tedder from Hampton Tedder Technical Services. Chasen is also on the NETA Board of Directors and is the chairman of the QEMC QEMW program. So today, Chasen, along with special guests, will provide a QEMC program overview, an outline of the QEMC application and qualification process, and share details on the value of the QEMC program. We'll also hear from a couple of our current QEMC partners. And finally, we'll review the QEMC program resources and available support. During today's presentation, you're welcome to submit questions, and you can do that by entering them in the chat section, and then we'll address those questions at the end of the presentation. So thank you again for being here, and now I'm going to turn it over to Chasen.
Thank you, Jill. Appreciate that. Yeah, thank you everyone for joining. Appreciate you taking time out of your day to review the QEMC program and what it means to you. Chasen Tedder with Hampton Tedder Technical Services. I'm the Vice President of Utility Testing Services, and as Jill said, the QEMC QEMW Committee Chair. Let's look at this program overview, outline kind of the application process and some of the other aspects that go with it. I also want to introduce a couple of the key team members that we have on this call. Jim Chaldea with Sigma C Power Services. He's the CEO and a NETA QEMC QEMW committee member. He's also part of the NETA Board of Directors and Alliance Program Committee Chair. We'll be talking about what it means to be a NETA accredited company working strongly with a QEMC. Appreciate you joining, Jim. And we thought we'd like to confuse you guys a little bit by bringing Jim Cole as well. So we got two Jims on board, and they both closely work together. Jim Cole's from Paquette and Howard. He's the Engineering Field Services Manager, and he was one of our first QEMCs to come through the door. He became a QEMC in March of 2025, and he's benefited tremendously from the NETA alignment with the training standards and the close association with Sigma C. They have 300 plus employees, mostly in New Hampshire and Massachusetts, and we'll be hearing from Jim Cole later about all the great benefits of it. Appreciate you joining, Jim.
Absolutely.
And we've also got Tyler Grant from Blackman Power. He's the electrical power maintenance project manager over there. He also became a QEMC in March of 2025 and has noticed how great it is to be part of that affiliation and qualification. They've got 60 plus employees located in Charlotte, North Carolina, and all these individuals are also part of our QEMC subcommittee. So they live, die, eat, and breathe all that is QEMC. So hopefully we've got some good content for you guys later. So a little bit about QEMC, why it's here, what's the purpose, what's going on in the industry. 70B went from being just kind of a recommended maintenance to now a mandatory standard. And for those of you that aren't familiar with 70B, just real quickly, that's NFPA's arm and their trifecta of making sure that electrical equipment that's installed is not going to catch any buildings on fire. Most people are familiar with NFPA 70, the National Electrical Code. And probably a lot familiar with 70E, which is the safety standard. Both of those have been very prevalent over the past few decades. 70B has been a good one on the side as kind of a recommendation, but it recently became a standard. What that means is that now it's enforceable. So companies must implement a formal electrical maintenance program instead of it just being a good idea. Where that leaves the industry is now we have to ensure that our workers have the right qualifications when they perform those maintenances. They need to document and track those maintenance activities, make sure that they're aligned with the national standards, and they need to formalize those maintenance practices. This is critically important because instead of it just being something that was a good idea, now that it's enforceable, we all have to pay attention to it. That's opened up a big opportunity for us in the maintenance industry. So why is compliance no longer optional? Well, by it becoming a standard, the NFPA has recognized that by not performing proper maintenance, your electrical equipment can create some serious damage to buildings, catch fire to buildings. It's bigger than just a safety issue or a code issue. It's a life safety issue. So they now are going to require that your electrical equipment be maintained. So now that it's a requirement, OSHA may come in and cite companies under their general duty clause if they are not performing this maintenance. And AHJ's authorities having jurisdiction, such as local inspectors, facility safety officers, insurers, can now require compliance with 70B. We haven't heard of any facility being shut down over not performing maintenance, but that is, inspectors do have a certain amount of authority to do that. Insurance companies have been proactive on this by giving benefits in the past. We see them as providing some either steeper discounts or not covering situations if they don't perform the 70B. So it's a lot more important now than ever. With that, we've noticed a growing demand for these electrical maintenance services. With electrical incidences posing serious risks to life and property, facility owners, contractors are being held to higher standards for safety and reliability. The compliance to 70B ensures that electrical systems are maintained proactively, minimizing the risk of failure, downtime, or injury. These, because of that standard, because of the growing need to have this done, there is a growing demand on our already strained workforce to complete this. We understand that that could open up to just anybody coming out and performing these services, and NETA recognized that we wanted to be on the forefront and make sure that the people performing these maintenances are qualified to do so. So what is the QEMC program? It's a strategic initiative developed by NETA to address this surge in demand for qualified electrical equipment maintenance companies. The QEMC program that NETA developed closely aligns with 70B by providing a structured qualification pathway for maintenance workers of electrical contractors and companies, ensuring that their workers are qualified to perform the mandatory maintenance requirements introduced by the standard. When you start getting into standards, certifications, qualifications for individuals, you find that there's a kind of trifecta associated with that. To be qualified, certified in those manners, you have to have a certain amount of documented training that you know what you're doing. You need to have a certain amount of hours under your belt performing these services. And then usually they want to see some tests associated with it. So NETA saw the availability to provide that pathway in a very good structure that matches with 70B. So by aligning the QEMC program with 70B, we're able to hit those points. Sorry for that. And yeah, we've got technicians must meet the training and experience with the evaluation that's provided. Let's go to the next slide. So differences. NETA is the association behind both programs, and it may seem a little bit difficult to discern which one is which. NETA has been a great powerhouse in the industry in providing independent electrical testing companies the certification and qualifications to provide third-party independent acceptance and maintenance testing on electrical power systems. QEMCs, by contrast, provide the maintenance services, but not necessarily the acceptance testing criteria. The QEMC is more vetted by NETA to perform the electrical equipment maintenance in accordance with 70B. Let's go on to the next one. So some of the business advantages of becoming a QEMC, you differentiate, you demonstrate, and business growth. With any of the qualifications, certifications that you have, being able to set yourself apart from the rest of the pack is incredibly important for your businesses. Having NETA back your company, having that third party qualification that has gone through your company, said you have all the right attributes, you have all the right procedures, you have everything that's needed to be a quality maintenance company is incredibly important. Having the tests that are associated with it, having NETA qualify your maintenance workers via testing demonstrates to your clients or to the insurance companies that the workers that you have out there performing the maintenance not only have been vetted by your own company, but by a third party that has no tie to making sure that these workers necessarily check a box, that they are qualified to do what they're doing. And as I'm sure Jim, Cole, and Tyler are going to attest to later, the business growth opportunities are tremendous. By having a NETA bug behind your name, stating that you're qualified to perform these services, it really sets you apart from the rest of the crowd as the gold standard when it comes to maintenance. It also strengthens your safety and risk management. I'm sure that Jim and Tyler could attest to this as well going into it. You have some, and this goes for a lot of our NETA accredited companies too. Going into it, you may believe that what you're doing is of the best quality that's out there. And when you have the best of the best of your peers surrounding you saying, hey, this is our standard, it really raises everyone up to a new level to give an even better quality to our customers, clients, and the general public. So by coming in there and saying, let's review your safety work practices, let's look at your procedures. These all look great. We recommend this, that, and the other. It really gives you that moment and opportunity to reevaluate what you've got going on and strengthen it and make it a little bit better. With that, you're accessing those great resources from the top NETA accredited companies and the top QEMC companies and what they're doing, how they're tackling issues. And as an association together, it brings us all together and makes everything that we do just that much better. So I think you've heard a lot from me about the introduction for QEMC, but let's hear from some of the actual QEMCs out there performing this work. First up, we've got Tyler Grant from Blackman Power. So voices from the field, can you tell us a little bit about the QEMC program and why it's worked for you guys?
So yeah, Blackman Power, we had a major focus in keeping our customers compliant with electrical maintenance. And with the push of NFPA 70B, keeping our customers aware of that, that was always a big push. And then we've seen NETA come out with the QEMC. It aligned with our goals, and with the backing of a nationally recognized group, it was an easy choice for us to enroll in the program and become a QEMC.
Thank you. And how's business been going since you guys became QEMC?
It's been going well. A lot of more notoriety in our market. NETA companies have reached out asking us for help on larger projects where they just can't man it. Happy to help there. The biggest thing is, customers don't have to ask anymore. When they see the backing of NETA, to your point, Jason, they know that we've went through our steps, we went through our procedures, and we are a qualified maintenance company.
Awesome. And what about for the QEMWs that you got? What does it mean to them to be going over to be qualified?
Yeah, I mean, our guys are, it means a lot to them. Anytime a guy can put a feather in their cap, if they will, they love to do it. And our guys took pride in that. and carry it to the field with our customers.
Very good. Very good. Thank you, Tyler. Appreciate your insight.
Thank you.
And next we've got Jim Cole from Paquette and Howard. Thanks for joining, Jim. What's worked with you with QEMC and what does it mean to you?
Oh, hey, Jason. Means a lot, honestly. We actually inadvertently started this kind of thought process of maintenance programs for some of our current customers. We're a pretty large shop. We have a big presence in mostly production, manufacturing, life science, those kind of fields, and we saw a need for that. I then actually reached out to Jim Chaldea. He has some relationships with family of mine, and they referred me to talk to Jim. And in speaking to Jim, Jim informed me that this change in NFPA 70B was coming down the pipeline. So that said, it became apparent that we really need to, figure out what we're supposed to be doing to do things properly, I guess you'd say, for our clients. And moving forward, we looked to see what we could do for formal education. How can we get our guys up to speed? Because we're electricians. This is a little bit of out of our wheelhouse, if you will. And again, speaking to Mr. Chaldea, he said, Jim, would you be interested in participating in a pilot program with NETA for this QEMC, QEMW program? And we wholeheartedly said, absolutely. I mean, this is a godsend to us, and we'd love to jump on board and participate in anything that we can do. Since this is where I really formally got my introduction to NETA and all of its offerings. And one of the first things I found with NETA was the power test, which was pretty awesome. And I went down to the Dallas power test and I sat in on the NFPA 70B synopsis, where 3 of the board NETA members were on apparently the board for NFPA 70B development. So from the writers I was able to hear their intent. So, and of course, in that aspect, we can say, okay, so we see what they're attempting to do. We understand the correlation between breaker timing and arc flash studies, and really made sense to us. And what I was able to do since with Mr. Chaldea's help is he said, Jim, hey, look, this is a template I used years ago, developing programs for my customer. And Jim actually quite literally held my hand walking through a facility, and this is how I develop a program. And he showed me, and since then I've taken that template, and what I'm able to do is go through a facility's infrastructure, and I can say, these are all your high incident energy locations. These are where, we could have some safety, right? The OSHA drive to this. And these breakers should be tested in gears and so on and so forth. And then the insurance standpoint, we can talk to the customer about criticality, what equipment may not have an insurance claim if this went down. So we're going to want to pay particular attention on this. Once we develop that program, again, we're electricians. We're good at what we do, but we are no means electrical engineering. Our engineering department, we're 300 plus, but our engineering department is mostly BIM modeling, VDC, construction, drawings, and so on and so forth. So way out of our guys' wheelhouse. And what we've effectively, and I think pretty successfully, with P&H and Sigma C, are able to develop these programs for our customers. Jim's able to send a couple lead techs to us. We're able to support those techs with the horsepower that we have. And Jim handles the engineering side of things and provides a nice report, and we cover it and summarize in layman's terms to the customer. And at this point of the game, I can't keep up with quoting all between, FM and Hartford Steam and all the other drivers behind this. Everybody's coming out say, Jim, you mentioned this to me last year. Now my insurance company's telling me I need to do it. And we're just pedal to the metal. And I hope it's working. I think it's working as well for Jim, and he's happy with his relationship as well. And we're ecstatic, and we're excited to what we can contribute and give back to NETA. And again, we're here and very appreciative of the program.
Thank you, Jim. Yeah, I appreciate that. I think a lot of electrical contractors out there that have service departments, they may be a little bit wary of trying to get into 70B and maintenance because they have electricians. That's all that they do is installation or maybe a little bit of service work, not true maintenance. But a big portion of 70B is just very basic maintenance, walking by the panel board, looking at it, smelling it, making sure nothing's catching on fire. And so absolutely an electrician would be the best person to go and walk through these facilities on a weekly, monthly, yearly basis and check out those things, performing a lot of the services that don't require, a power factor test set or an SFRA or something crazy. It's just
100%.
a lot of maintenance that needs to get done out there.
100%.
And appreciate you pumping out Power Test. That is the premier conference that NETA hosts that has just got a lot of great information when it comes to maintenance and testing of equipment. So I'm glad you're able to get something out of that.
Oh, I've learned a lot. Every year I'll be there.
Awesome. Thank you, Jim.
Thank you, Jason.
And now that we've heard from Jim, let's hear from Jim. Mr. Chaldea, are you still out there?
Yeah, I'm here. I agree with all the stuff that Jim said, especially the stuff that he said that was good about me. I like that. Thank you. I know there's a lot of NETA accredited companies on the call, and as we've rolled out this program, we've gotten a lot of feedback that some people are a little nervous about qualifying electrical contractors for maintenance. And I think it's good that, we talk a little bit about how Sigma C and Paget and Howard work together. Like Jim said, it's worked out great. It's when we looked at 70B becoming a standard, we expected a big increase in maintenance, call for maintenance from our customers. Sometimes it takes them a little while to catch up, but they will catch up. And we really don't have the force to do all the work. It's just not possible. So what's worked out really well is teaming up with Jim and his staff, and he's had some training done with his people on the pieces of maintenance that are covered by the QEMC, QEMW program, which is really most of the work when we go do a maintenance shutdown is, removing breakers, torquing connections, measuring switchgear, ductoring switchgear, disconnecting transformers, reconnect, and who better to do that than electricians that are skilled in installation. The other thing, and Jim and I were just talking about this a little while ago, is what I think his guys are even better at is they can look at something and identify code violations, which is another thing that he's brought to the table that even enhances what we did without him by adding that code violations and improper installations, which is all part of, everything ties together. 70, you install it correctly, 70E, you're safe, 70B, you maintain it. But, 70E, the safety, it's, condition of the equipment. And one of the things is it installed correctly? And that's another important piece that Jim and his team have really brought to the table. And it's been great for us. We're get, a lot of work, especially now. I heard people talking about outage. It's outage time. We had a big emergency. Jim sent a bunch of guys down to help us out. They were excellent, really helped us out. When he does his maintenance, we send a couple of our guys, and his guys are there. And we know, whether we hire him or he hires us, we know who we're getting. We know the people are qualified. They're trained. And it's just, I think it's not only has it benefited Paget and Howard and Sigma C, but it's been a huge benefit to the customers, because by working together and leveraging our talents and leveraging our workforces, we're able to do more at very cost effectively. And then, another nice thing with this partnership is, there are certain things that we find that usually NETA accredited company is not going to take care of, because we're not electrical contractors. So Jim's already there. So whether we have a problem with one of our customers that needs some work, or, you know, we identify, you know, when we're on one of Jim's jobs, that's a lot of nice follow-up work, you know, that they can handle, whether they're doing it through us for our customers, or, you know, they're doing it for their customers. And then we can roll into some, you know, acceptance testing and design support. So it's really very, very nicely fit together. And plus Jim's a pretty good guy. So it's, you know, he's fun to work with. So
Good job.
I think for us anyways, that was the whole goal of the QEMW program, was for the QEMW and the NETA accredited company to work together and leverage the talents of each company. And we've been extremely fortunate, you know, that to hook up with Paquette and Howard, and it's worked great. It's worked great. So we're probably going to keep doing it.
Thank you, Jim. Yeah, those are all great experiences. I have to echo, especially when it comes to the installation stuff. We've had QEMWs where our guys are just so focused on, I want to use the expensive piece of test equipment. They're not looking at the broader thing of, hey, was this installed properly? And as much as, you know, medium voltage cables that have a sharp 90-degree bend where you'd say, as an installation guy goes, hey, that's obviously wrong. Our test guys, it just goes right past them. Or where you see dissimilar metals, a copper conductor connected to an aluminum one, and there's no, you know, special connector in there. They go, okay, well, this is obviously wrong. This is going to create a failure point. But some of the test technicians may not see that, whereas the electricians, it screams at them. So it's great having that diversity inside a customer's place of business to provide an even better service. So I'm glad that you've experienced that with Jim and Jim as well. What does it look like to become a QEMC? So very relatively basic requirements. Need to have a business license in the state in which you're performing work. This is mostly geared towards electrical contractors, but this would work out for any facility that's trying to do it in their own. They've got to have some sort of license for doing business where they're at. We take a look at the company's maintenance capabilities, making sure that they have a standard compliance safety program and routine calibration program. Similar to our NETA accredited companies, you know, if you don't have the correct safety procedures set in place, there's the potential that, you know, you're not going to have workers anymore. So we want to make sure that if we're putting the gold standard out there of quality maintenance product, that you've got the right people with the right safety equipment and the right calibration program to make sure that they're set up for success. There's a review of the electrical equipment maintenance experience and quality of the business operations. So I would say one thing that we see a lot of is reports. A lot of times when you go in and do a maintenance, it seems pretty evident, right? You saw the 30 guys that were there that came and cleaned the switchgear. It looks a lot better than it did before, right? Sometimes it does when you can open up the panels and see the inside. Sometimes that dirty outside switchgear is not going to get any better. I don't care how much you polish it. So having a little report at the end saying, hey, these are the issues we found, and this is how we overcame them, and this is what we recommend moving forward, I think is a big opportunity for a lot of the applicant QEMC companies to do better, and the QEMC companies to raise the bar with. And so we look at those opportunities and make recommendations on this is what it should look like. We also look at the employees themselves, the electrical equipment maintenance workers, verify that, you know, they have the correct training, that they've got the amount of hours on the job that would be appropriate for somebody performing this maintenance, making sure that they have some 70E training. You know, when you get into maintenance, the equipment should have already been energized at some point. So do you have the knowledge and wherewithal to make sure that it's de-energized before you perform maintenance on it? Critically important. So we look at all of that, and then NETA hosts the exam, if in a way that that makes sure that they have the understanding and knowledge to really complete the the robust knowledge, skills, and abilities that are associated with understanding of a qualification or certification. Speaking of those workers, so QEMWs that are in your organization, those are the electricians that are routinely performing maintenance. Those individuals should have at least, when we're looking at qualifying them to be a QEMW, they should at least be in their second year of an electrical apprenticeship or greater. So if they've already journeyed out, if they've been in the field for 5-10 years, you know, the bare minimum is that they're in their second year. So they've gone through at least 1 year of an apprenticeship, that they have 100 hours of some sort of technical training related to the electrical equipment, that they've completed some 70E training. That's critically important if you're performing the maintenance on it, that you know that it's safe, and that they have at least 1 year of on-the-job experience performing maintenance. So those are kind of the minimum requirements that we have for a QEMW before they're allowed to take the exam. The examination, I know that we get a lot of questions on this. There's a lot of hesitancy to send the electricians out to take this test. It's not a very paperwork intensive test. 50 questions, 90 minutes. That 90 minutes has an NDA and a demo outside of it, letting them know mostly, you know, they can't steal the questions and that sort of thing. It's proctored online via Pearson VUE. So the electricians just have to have a laptop or a computer in a room. They don't need to go to a special testing center or anything crazy. So it's real easy to administer the exam. And NETA's put together some great detailed content outline to let the QEMWs, the applicant QEMWs, understand what's going to be on the exam so that they can study up if they want to be more prepared to pass it. And NETA's partnered with AVO Training Institute to create an exam prep course, either for those that have 0 of those technical hours and need something robust to really bring them in as close as they can to those 100 technical hours plus the safety training, or if they've already had all that training, they already have those hours. AVO's got a little course that will just give a real quick prep to really make sure that they'll pass this exam. And I think that's all we have for the presentation portion. I know we have a lot of NETA accredited companies on here, and we have a lot of applicants or people interested in the program. So we're going to be moving on to the Q&A.
So as I said when we opened up, if you have questions, just go ahead and type them in the chat. And I'm going to kind of read them out, and then Chasen, you can decide who best to answer. So the first question is, what have you all seen in terms of businesses adopting 70B? And they go on to say, most of the businesses I work with here in Northwest Georgia haven't even heard of it, so it's been tough to use as a selling point.
I think that would be a great question for Jim. Do you want to take that one?
Oh, absolutely. Again, so in the beginning, when I say the beginning, I guess last year, we would talk to people, and it was a tough sell because, right, there's no ROI on this, and the customers, they're not spending what they don't need to. What we're seeing is insurance companies to our customers are really starting to push this initiative. So my customers are actually coming to me now. In the beginning, initially, it's more of an education, and we're kind of, everybody's been doing IR scans and arc flash studies for a while now. That's pretty much adopted as the industry standard, and that's what we do for the consensus for a safe electrical workplace, right? But so this new introduction to mandatory maintenance, it's new. So it's really, we've really taken the education approach, saying, hey, I know you're doing IR, but you know, maybe consider, we actually went to the step, made some flyers just for educational purposes, kind of broke down the expectations of 70B, and then basically outlined what their responsibility is and what our responsibility is. Try to make it real quick and simple. In the event which it came to fruition, they start to hear about this from outside sources, which they have. We've already put the bug in the ear, and they know where to reach out. So if your area isn't seeing this, influx yet, I assure you they will. You just need to kind of get the bug in the ear so they know who to call when they hear this. And we actually in New Hampshire, our state inspector, electrical state inspector, went back from what was called OPLC and licensing, and they are now under the NFPA umbrella again, which means for all the state stuff, they're pushing NFPA. He reached out to me, and he can refer us. If they don't need to use us, but he's saying, hey, you guys need to do this for all your state colleges and so on and so forth. This guy can help you, but by all means, you can go somewhere else if you like. So this kind of pushes towards the enforceable side of things. So hopefully that clears that up a little bit.
Absolutely. Very well said, Jim. I think that we've had similar experiences where, it can be a hard sell for people that don't do maintenance already, but for those that do maintenance, it's real easy to say, hey, this is now a standard, it's a requirement. Your insurance companies are going to be coming after you for it. So let's get ahead of it. And if they can't buy it right then, they will eventually be buying it because it's going to be coming down pretty hard. So keep at it.
How long does the application and enrollment process take?
From application to enrollment to getting the QEMC, it varies tremendously by individual. It's very much driven by what is it going to take for the company to respond with the right materials. But on average, I would say it usually takes about 1 to 2 months from the point that you start submitting your application to the point that you become a QEMC. Jim and Tyler had to suffer with us during the first couple months of getting this off the ground, and they're very patient. We appreciate them, but yeah, luckily now we're down to about 1 to 2 months, largely dependent upon the applicant company, how quickly they can respond with follow-up questions.
How many technicians is needed in order to be qualified?
So as a QEMC company, you want to be putting the best product out there. So all of your maintenance workers should be QEMWs. I know that it's a tough thing when you first start out to say that every single one of my guys needs to be QEMW. And I know a lot of contractors out there that have 300, 600,000 employees. We're not asking that every single electrician become QEMW tomorrow, but in your service department, in your maintenance department, make sure that you grab all of those electricians that are actually performing maintenance that meet those qualifications, get them signed up for the exam. I don't think that we've had much pushback from those that have taken the exam that it was incredibly difficult or too tough to do. So as far as QEMWs go, just sign up the ones that are part of your service and maintenance group.
The next question, will NETA be, or are we already driving the value of the QEMC program to the end users as a means of standard compliance?
Yeah, so we created a QEMC subcommittee, which Jim and Tyler are part of, and that is one of our tasks to start pushing this out more to the industry. We've got some limited success in what we've done collectively, but we are expanding that more and more as we grow the QEMC program. So it's on our radar, something we're handling, and hope that it's going to be coming to a town near you.
And as the marketing and communications director, I will say that NETA, from a general awareness building standpoint, we've had a consistent cadence of communications to all of the folks in our database. The NETA World Journal has had a couple of articles on the QEMC program in each of the issues since the beginning of the year. We have press release going out. It's going to be a focal point at Power Test 26, which is in March of 26. So we are doing a lot to just build awareness of the program. And in addition, our AVO partner in this course promotion that they've been released here just recently, they are doing a lot along with Megger to really talk about the importance of NFPA 70B compliance, making sure technicians and companies are qualified and providing a lot of information as well. So there's a lot of communication going on just to build overall awareness of the value of qualifying your electrical maintenance workers. Once a company is qualified as QEMC and they have QEMWs that have taken the exam and are servicing in the industry, how long does their qualification last? And are they required to obtain CEUs to maintain it?
Hey, Jim Chaldea. I know Matt was working on his presentation where it addressed those things. Do you remember that off the top of your head?
I think some of that's still in discussion because it's a new program, but I think the long-term intent is that there will be some continuing education requirements to maintain the QEMW certification. And then also we were talking about maybe a minimum number of QEMWs to maintain the QEMC certification, but we're still kind of growing things and getting things together. And that's why Chasen invited a couple of QEMCs to get on our committee so we can discuss it and find out what's the best way to go to really, to have an ongoing certification that's going to be recognized by the industry. That there's going to have to be some type of educational requirement or recertification or something. We just haven't quite defined that yet. So as a NETA accredited company, we have 24 CTDs required every 3 years for our level 2s and 48 CTDs every 3 years for our level 3s and 4s. So that's how we maintain our certification. Or you can retake the exam, which people don't typically do that. They get the training and a lot of us will send our techs to power test, and they can get a lot of their CTDs at power test. And we have internal and external training programs that are accredited by NETA. So I'm sure once we get our arms all around that, there'll be a QEMW recertification and a certain number of CTDs. We probably keep it 3 years so everything matches.
Yeah, thank you, Jim. Yeah, that brings up a great point. This is still a little bit in flux. We're taking a lot of the expertise that we have from the NETA accredited side. Instead of recreating a program from scratch, we've got a lot of good ideas and things that we've done moving forward. Most likely it is going to be a 3-year recertification for the company, similar to how we have the NETA accredited companies recertify every 3 years, along with the technicians every 3 years. We're still working out the details with that for the training on the QEMWs, what exactly that looks like. But obviously, if you are sending your guys out as part of their normal training, power test is one of those great examples. Document those hours, and we're going to have a lot more information in the coming months on what that looks like for recertification in most likely 3 years. Thank you, Jill. And Jim, good question.
This is a question from a gentleman who has a new testing company, and they are getting a lot of their training from AVO, and they're working on getting their electrical maintenance workers up to speed. And they are asking if there's any advice as they're working through that training to become a QEMC. I'll just take this one. You can begin the application process right away. We have a team that will help you navigate the application, and the process of filling out that application will allow you to understand, what requirements you might still need to put in place in order to qualify as a QEMC. And then, as you say, your technicians are currently going through training with AVO and probably doing some field work as well. So hopefully it'll all come together, and by the time you're ready as an organization to complete the application, your technicians will be ready to sit for the exam. The 4-day AVO exam is really meant to provide all of the training sort of an entry-level electrical worker would need to be able to pass the exam. So I think you're on the right track with AVO. Enrolling them in their 4-day course is probably the best next step there. And then contacting the NETA office and working with Tosca. She's the QEMC applications coordinator at our office.
Can I just throw something in on that, Jill?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
So if you're starting a new testing company, in order to become a NETA accredited company, you have to be in business for 2 years. So it might benefit you to take a look at the NETA application to become an accredited company and kind of focus on that. And I agree with Jill, AVO is a great place for training, but you really want to take a look, and there's a lot more in there than the QEMW is really designed for electrical contractor. I would say, for sure, sign up as an industrial alliance partner and get involved with NETA right away. You certainly can look at the QEMC program. It could work out for you, get you some certifications right away. But if you're on the track to become a NETA accredited company, get a look at that, at the actual NETA accredited company application, and focus on that.
The way to get access to that application is also just calling the NETA office and asking specifically to speak with the staff that heads up our member services. The next question is, how should the electricians prepare for the exam, and is there a list of topics to study?
Great question. I don't know, Tyler, if you've got some experience you'd want to talk about how your guys help prepare for the exam.
Yeah, for sure. Per a previous slide, NETA gives you a good outline to go by, but we just had our guys take that and go through all the high points. We didn't have any issues. Everything that we studied kind of made sense, and there was no surprises. So NETA did a really good job of capturing what you needed to kind of look at and laid a blueprint of what you need to have knowledge in to be ready for that test.
Great. Thank you, Tyler. Yeah, the detailed content outline has all the appropriate information to help study for the QEMW exam. And like we've talked about before, AVO is a great partner of ours that have put together a 4-day course and a 2-day course to whether you need the full information or just a crash course to get you prepped. Since you've been doing this maintenance for a long time, you know what to do. Just 2 days, get in, get out, take the test, and you're all good. So 2 great resources that we have there, AVO or the DCO, really help you figure out what to study.
What qualifies as technical training under the 100 hours requirement? And how recent would this training have to be? Would a journeyman who did training 10 years ago qualify?
So technical training has to be in if you look at the detailed content outline, it lists out the type of equipment that would be tested or maintained by a QEMC or QEMW. And if you look at that, all of those pieces of equipment are going to be covered in the exam. If you're looking at, did you get the correct technical training on those things? It would be looking at those individual pieces of equipment and seeing if you have some of that technical training. Now, part of the exam is also on basic electrical theory, making sure that you know Ohm's law. We don't get crazy into mathematics and that sort of thing, but at least just a relative understanding of you know what electricity is. So if they've gone through an apprenticeship, 10 years ago, and they've got some documented certificate that said, hey, I graduated from this place and it had, 6,000 hours of training, 2,000 hours of training, that's going to be way more than you need to meet that 100-hour minimum. So if you've got somebody that's got some prior experience and it's long ago, that's okay. At the end of the day, it is the contractor that is certifying those hours. So the contractor is responsible for verifying those hours are appropriate. So whatever you find is appropriate. If you don't feel comfortable with it, then send the guy through the AVO training to get a little bit more.
Will QEMCs or individual QEMWs receive any benefits similar to what the NETA Alliance members currently get, such as discounts and access to standards trainings conference offered by NETA? The answer is yes.
So Jim, you want to talk about the Alliance program and how the QEMC is very similar?
Yeah, QEMC was really more modeled off of the NETA accredited company program. So the benefits are very similar to the Alliance program. So, you get one trip to power test is included, I believe, in your dues, which is similar to a NETA accredited company. You get discounts for all the training, the books, everything that NETA has to offer. That is, I believe those levels are similar to the Alliance program, right, Jill?
Yep, that's correct.
A lot of benefits, a lot of resources that NETA has that are available to the QEMWs.
Awesome. Thank you, Jim.
One more question. There's quite a few electrical contractors out there that do electrical testing currently. Some electrical contractors part of organizations like TAG. Does NETA have any communications with these organizations? And I'd like to see partnership for QEMC and QMW certification. So I think this is a question about whether we're talking with other organizations that are collectively in relationship with electrical contractors. And so I'm going to let Bryant talk a little bit about our recent communications with TAG. And I've had recent communications with NECA. So you can speak first, Bryant, and then I'll follow you.
Well, thank you, Jill. Conversations with TAG. In fact, I was typing a little note here. I was going to put up not as a question, but as a comment. Is I don't think we can overstate the opportunity that qualification as a company under the QEMC program offers to differentiate your company in the market from your competitors. Reasonable question was, well, what if our customers aren't really familiar with 70B and the requirements now that it's a standard? That's an open door for you to take the opportunity to say, oh, well, let me explain. And we can provide you with materials to help in that explanation. But the bottom line of it is you can differentiate yourself by acquainting your customers with the requirements of 70B and saying they require qualified workers. QEMC and QEMW has NETA as the third-party qualifier. The alternative to a non-QEMC company would be, well, we say our employees are qualified, which again opens the door to the opportunity to say, well, as a competitor, they can claim that any of their employees are qualified, but we offer the opportunity that would be respected by not only the requirements of the NFPA 70B, but also by insurance carriers to provide a qualified by a third party electrical equipment maintenance worker. And so the attraction to the TAG companies would be that it would present the opportunity for them to differentiate themselves in the market, and specifically when it comes to the bid process. It's a great opportunity to say we're different than our competitors, and here's how we're different. And we're not saying that you need to hire someone who is different, AKA qualified. NFPA 70B is requiring the electrical equipment maintenance workers performing services on your facility's properties be qualified. So we're not setting the standards are set. We're meeting the standards, and I would basically challenge any of my competitors to say that their workers are qualified along the lines of the NETA QEMW qualification. So from the TAG perspective, and I think from all of our perspectives, it really is a market differentiator that you just aren't going to be able to find by saying, well, we're just different. Well, how are we different? Here's how we're different. So that's the attraction to TAG and to other companies who are looking at this. How do I show the market that I am better qualified and better suited under the requirements of NFPA 70B to meet your needs and allow your facility to operate not only under meeting the NFPA 70B standards, but also your insurance carrier? I thought it was interesting that Jim earlier in the conversation mentioned that the 70B awareness is coming to him in some cases by his own customers who are saying, hey, you know, we're aware of this. Our insurance providers are aware of this, and they're bringing it to our attention. That is an open door to the opportunity for us and for you to effectively market the value, the return on investment that the QEMC program offers to your company. Jill, I'll defer to you now.
We were at the NECA conference in Chicago, and I met one of the regional chapter chairs in the California area. And they were very interested in the QEMC program. And so we had a meeting with them last week, and NECA folks see bringing the QEMC program to their members as a member benefit, a member service that they can provide them. So they've asked us to make a presentation to their NECA electrical contractor members that are in the California region. And so we're going to be setting that up in the weeks ahead. And NECA's mission is to really help their electrical contractors elevate the service they provide. And they see the QEMC program as a means to do that. So we're really excited about that. And that'll be another way in which we build awareness of the program and begin to spread the word. So.
And Jill, I'll close just by saying that, I'm by background, I'm a sales guy. And as a sales guy, you're always looking for the hook. We all get bogged down in the pricing differentiation, right? Well, what's the difference? If there's no story to tell, then it becomes a price war. And we all lose, and the customer loses in a price war. But this is a hook that your salespeople can, when they go to a customer, they can say, let me tell you why we're different. Let me tell you why we're better. I mean, we can talk price all day long, but the bottom line of it is there is a standard out there that is not only respected by, but now actively being accepted by insurance carriers and facility owners that differentiates me from a price argument. And I just can't overstate the benefit that the QEMC program brings to your company as a market differentiator, and helps you avoid that in the rut conversation and bidding activity that's centered only around price. I just think it's a very strong ROI. And if you dig into, I won't go into it, but if you dig into the cost of becoming a QEMC, it's minimal in regards to what it can bring to your company as a sales tool and as a bidding hook to ensure your customers understand there is value that you're offering that your competitors simply are not bringing to the table.
Well said. Is there anything that Jason or Tyler or Jim you want to add to the conversation?
I don't know that Bryant was formally introduced or not, but he's our executive director of NETA. And so he brings a valuable foresight into what's going on in the organization. I really appreciate Jim and Tyler, joining and providing all the information. The NETA staff for putting this together.
For those who are being introduced to the QEMC program now for the first time, we've got a lot of details on the NETA website. We have a dedicated web page to the QEMC program. There's a lot of content there, including the detailed content outline, which you can look at and see the requirements of your current employees and how they may be situated to become a QEMC. But we've made great effort to ensure that applying and receiving qualification under this program is not a mind-boggling, months-long process. You know what you do, we know what you do, and you're in the best position possible to identify to us the qualifications of your current workers and their background and experience. You'll play a big role in determining the qualification to step forward and participate in the exam. But if you would take the next step of exploring the application and the process to become a QEMC, I think you'll see that it's not onerous, it's not difficult, it's an easy step to bring value to your company and position you differently in the marketplace than your competitors. So explore that application process with us. We've got plenty of folks on hand that'll walk you through it, explain it, and make it easy for you to take that next step.